This conference will now be recorded.
Hello friends, we have been discussing the previous year questions on ethics paper 4. Especially we are discussing the answers to the questions that were asked in the year 2021 of the ethics paper 4 GS. As part of that, today we shall discuss yet another question that was asked in 2021 ethics paper. And the question is, attitude is an important component that goes as an input in the development of the human being. How to build a suitable attitude needed for a public servant? So this was a question that was asked in the year 2021. So the question is relating to attitude and how to build the suitable attitudes that are required for a public servant. Now, to answer this question, let us begin with what attitude means. See, attitude basically refers to a state of mind. It refers to a set of views or thoughts regarding some topic or some object. It could be either positive, it could be negative, or even neutral. See, normally, when one looks at something, for example, if you as a candidate, if you take, what is your attitude towards the examination? You may have a positive attitude stating that the examination is very good. Sometimes you may have a negative attitude saying the examination is very difficult and it is not worth. Sometimes you may not have any positive or negative and you may be having a neutral opinion. So generally when you get out of the examination hall, immediately you have a reference, you have a state of mindset to reflect upon the examination. So that will sometimes be referred to as attitude. Similarly, what kind of an attitude should one have in order to be a good public servant, effective public servant? See, basically, it is very important for a public servant to have an optimistic or a positive attitude towards his own job. See, this is a very generic or a kind of an ideal expectation. We are expected to have a positive attitude towards the work what we are assigned to do, the organization for which we are working, and generally towards that. This is how it is expected. Now, what are the here? The question is about the suitable attitude. The attitude may be different, or when it is left to the individual, it will be different for different people. But as a public servant, to be a public servant, what kind of an attitude is required, and what will be the suitable attitude? Here, for this answer, I would suggest you, as usual, I would suggest you to go to the Constitution. We have to resort to the Constitution. What are the possible attitude, the suitable attitudes what a public servant must have? See, basically, the attitudes are defined by values, and therefore, let us go to the Constitution when it comes to building attitude for suitable for public servants. The methods are number one, there are different steps. How to build attitude? There are different steps. The steps in building attitude is number one, providing the right information. Second is creating a fear of punishment in case of any deviance. The fear of punishment, or put in other words, it is the fear of sanctions. Any deviant behavior may be subjected to sanctions, and what is the sanction and how it can affect you. And third step is to arouse a dissonance about the deviant behavior. See, when you don't abide by, or when you don't have the proper attitude, or when you don't have uh, the commitment to work in the required path, it will cause some sort of an unpleasantness within you. So that has to be aroused. And fourth step is about the social status of the public servant. See, as a civil servant, as a public servant, you enjoy a social status. People respect you just because you are a public servant. When people come to know that you work for some public organization, you automatically generate respect. For instance, you know the status and social prestige that is accompanied by being a civil servant. That is one of the main motivators for people to get into civil service, which is an undeniable fact. So that has to be also reminded to the individual in order to build a suitable attitude. And the fifth one is allowing people to participate in the decision making process. Whatever decision that is being taken, in case it is going to affect them, then they have to be taken into the fold. It has to be a participatory decision making process. The decisions have to be evolved, which in turn will set up the or help building the suitable attitude. So now, what are the suitable attitudes for the civil servant? First of all, the civil servant has to be optimistic about the policies of the government, meaning he should have a positive opinion about the policies. Once the policies are decided and once the policy decision is taken, the civil servant should always believe that they are implementable, and he should search for the methods of implementing the policy rather than finding fault with the policy itself. Secondly, the policies are meant for the welfare of the people, and at all points in time, the civil servant must keep that in his mind that he is employed and he is paid through the public money in order to serve the public, and that has to be kept in his mind. That is it, another attitude, job attitude that he must have. And thirdly, whatever he does, he has to ensure that it is done ethically. He should not deviate from the ethical point of view, and more importantly, the ethical framework for the public service is set up by the constitution, and so he should have a positive attitude towards constitution and should abide by the constitutional values. That is the reason why I always told you that you begin with constitution. So keeping the civil servant aware of the constitutional values and objectives, the philosophies which the constitution has prescribed for the government or the public administration as a whole. Second, arousing in him the fear of penalty or sanctions that may fall out upon him in case of any deviant behavior, and then generating or arousing a sense of unpleasantness that may be generated within him, and he should be made aware of the social status that he enjoys. And the fifth step is making him to participate in the decision making process. These are the 5 steps by which attitude can be built, and suitable attitude can be so built in the civil servants, and this could be your answer. Thank you very much and wish you all the very best. We shall discuss yet another question in the next session. Thank you all.